Look at that compared.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for then you come and bring it back. Yeah.
Good evening. Please. 这种我看是不是？
零食啊。
Ito loh. Ay.
Thanks, Bruno.
Good evening.
One of those other lounges is studs. There's no really.
Look at that compared to the Virgin one just there. And the other ones next to it.
Hello, how are you, sir?
Just follow the ladies.
Thank you. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Second night, you alright?
Oh,
Hello, sir, how are you?
Thank you. Any, I made my pants on the bed.
excuse me. Yeah, yeah.
I'm just trying to make space in my area.
No problem.
Flight time is 10 hours and 50 minutes, quite a lengthy flying time. There is headwinds, and there will be light turbulence during the flight. So it's always a good idea when you in your seat to keep the seatbelt fastened for your own safety and comfort. And yeah, we're not expecting anything severe though. The Johannesburg weather is forecast to be fine in the morning, small chance of some mist, but Grant will give you all the weather conditions once we are closer to it.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and Sanbonani, welcome on board. Now we have closed our aircraft doors. We kindly request passengers to be seated at this time and refrain.
and gentlemen, welcome to OR Tambo International Airport, Johannesburg. If you'd like to set your watches to the local time, it is now 4 a.m. Could we ask you to please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until the aircraft has come to a complete stop and our captain has switched off the fasten seatbelt signs. Then please be very careful getting up to retrieve your luggage, as some items might have shifted during the landing. Also take a moment to ensure that you have all your belongings with you before leaving the aircraft. Please note that smoking is not permitted inside the terminal building. You may only smoke once you've reached a designated smoking area. At this stage, you are most welcome to make use of your mobile telephones and smaller portable electronic devices. If you require assistance leaving the aircraft, could we ask you to please remain in your seat, and once all other guests have left the aircraft, a cabin crew member will gladly assist you. For those of you with onward connecting flights within South Africa, please take note of the following. Johannesburg is your first port of entry, so regardless what it says on your luggage tag as a final destination, you need to collect your luggage here in Johannesburg and clear it through customs, whereafter you may proceed to the recheck facility on your left hand side as you exit the customs hall. For those of you with onward connections outside the borders of South Africa, please follow the transit signs. We would like to invite our premium class passengers as well as our Voyager Lifetime and Voyager members to use the Fast Track Immigration Service. It is situated on the left hand side as you enter the arrivals hall. For our passengers with priority baggage, kindly be advised that your luggage will be offloaded from the carousel and may be collected on the red carpet next to the carousel on the floor. We have arrived safely and it is time for us to say goodbye. On behalf of Captain Anthony Stevenson and the entire team on board today, we thank you for flying with South African Airways, and we look forward to welcoming you on board one of our aircraft in the very near future. Thank you and good morning.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Terminal. You are urged to immediately report any suspicious activity to the police or security services. This is just another way that Airport Company South Africa ensures a secure air travel experience. South Africa welcomes you to OR Tambo International Airport. Your safety remains top priority. Please take note of this important message. Do not leave your luggage unattended and take care of personal belongings. maintain